Aksum is a city in the Tigray region of Ethiopia with a population of 66,800 residents, as of 2015. It was a popular city with international visitors until the Tigray War started in November 2020. It is the site of the historic capital of the Aksum Empire, a naval and trading power that ruled the entire region from about 400 BC to the 10th century. In 1980, UNESCO added the Aksum archaeological site to its list of World Heritage Sites because of its historical value. Aksum is located in the Mekelle zone in the Tigray region, near the base of the Adwa mountain range. It has a height of 2,131 meters (6,991 feet) and is surrounded by Larle Mechu, a wirda that is managed separately from the Tigray region. Brief history. Aksum was the center of the maritime trading power known as the Aksumite Empire, which predates its earliest mention in Roman-era writings. Around 356 CE, the ruler was converted to Abyssinian Christianity by Frumentius. Later, under the reign of Emperor Caleb, Aksum was a pseudo-ally of the Byzantines against the Sasanian Empire, which had adopted Zoroastrianism. Historical records are unclear, with ancient church records being the main contemporary source. It is believed the empire began to experience a long and slow decline after the 7th century, in part due to the Persians and later the Arabs fighting over the old Red Sea trade routes. Eventually the empire was cut off from its main markets in Alexandria, Byzantium and southern Europe, and its trading parts were captured by Arab traders at that time. 2. Destruction. The Aksumite Empire was finally destroyed in the 10th century by Empress Gudit, and eventually some of the Aksum people were forced to the south and their old way of life declined. As imperial power declined, so did the influence of the city, which is believed to have lost its population in decline, similar to Rome and other cities moving away from the flow of world events. The last nominal emperor to reign was crowned around the 10th century, but imperial influence and power had ended long before that. The decline in its population and trade then contributed to the shift of the seat of power of the Ethiopian Empire southward to the region of Agor as it moved further inland. During this period, the city of Aksum became the administrative center of an empire that spanned 1 million square miles. Eventually, the alternative name Ethiopia was adopted by the central region and later by the modern state that exists today. Aksum, or its Greek and Latin equivalents, appears as an important centerpiece on original maps of the Horn of North Africa in the 15th century. Transfer of assumptions. In 1937, a 1,700-year-old obelisk of Aksum, 24 meters (79 feet) high, was split into 5 parts by the Italians and sent to Rome to be erected. The obelisk is widely regarded as one of the finest engineering examples of the pinnacle of the Aksumite Empire. Despite a 1947 United Nations agreement that the obelisk be sent back, Italy balked, resulting in a long-standing diplomatic dispute with the Ethiopian government, which views the obelisk as a symbol of national identity. In April 2005, Italy finally returned the obelisk pieces to Aksum amid much official and public excitement. Italy also bears the transfer fee of US $4 million. UNESCO was responsible for the re-installation of this inscription at Aksum, and by the end of July 2008 the obelisk was reassembled. It was inaugurated on September 4, 2008. 4. Relations with Islam. The Aksumite Empire had a long-standing relationship with Islam. According to Ibn Hisham, when Muhammad faced oppression from the Quraysh clan in Mecca, he sent a small group of his original followers, including his daughter Ruqayya and husband Uthman, to Aksum. The Negus, The Aksumite king, known as a Najashi in Islamic tradition, provided them with refuge and protection and refused the request of the Quraysh clan to send the refugees back to Arabia. These refugees did not return until the 6th year of the Hijri, 628 AD, and even then many remained in Ethiopia, eventually settling in Negish in what is now the Misraqawi zone. There are different traditions regarding the influence of these early Muslims on the rulers of Aksum. The Muslim tradition is that the ruler of Aksum was so impressed by these refugees that he became a secret convert. On the other hand, Arab historians and Ethiopian traditions state that some Muslim refugees living in Ethiopia during this time converted to Orthodox Christianity. There is also a second Ethiopian tradition that, on Ashama bin Abjar's death, Muhammad is reported to have prayed for the king's soul, and told his followers, "Leave the Abyssinians in peace, as long as they do not carry out any attacks." History of the kingdom. The Kingdom of Aksum was a trading empire with its headquarters in Eritrea and northern Ethiopia. It existed around 100 to 940 AD, growing from the Proto-Aksumite period to the Iron Age c. 4th century BC to achieve prominence in the 1st century AD. According to the Book of Aksum, the first capital of the kingdom, Mazaba, was built by Eteopas, son of Cush. The capital was later moved to Aksum in northern Ethiopia. The kingdom used the name Ethiopia since the 4th century. The empire of Aksum at times expanded over much of present-day Eritrea, northern Ethiopia, West Yemen, and parts of eastern Sudan. The capital of the empire was Aksum, now in northern Ethiopia. Today, a smaller community, the city of Aksum was once a metropolis, a bustling cultural and economic center. 2 hills and 2 rivers lie on the east and west stretches of the city, may provide the initial impetus to settle this area. Along the hills and plains outside the city, the Aksumites had graves with elaborate tombstones called inscriptions or obelisks. Other important cities include Yeha, Halti Melazo, Matara, Adulis, and Kohito, the last 3 of which are now in Eritrea. During the reign of Endubis in the late 3rd century, he began minting his own currency and was named by many as one of the 4 great powers of his time along with the Sasanian Empire, Roman Empire, and the Chinese 3 kingdoms. The Aksumites adopted Christianity as their state religion in 325 or 328 AD under King Azana, and Aksum was the first state to use the image of the cross on its coins. Around the 3rd century, probably circa 240 c. 260, the Aksumites under Sembrothers triumphed over Caesar, with Caesar becoming a tributary of the kingdom of Aksum. Around the year 330, Azana of Aksum led his army to the kingdom of Meroe, conquering and plundering the city itself. A huge stone monument was left there, and the subjugation was also related to the Azana stone. That's 5 brief history of the kingdom of Aksum, which is quoted from wikipedia.com. Hope it is useful. Thank you.